Hey everybody, so today we're going to be diving into this free add-on called Commotion. So we're just going to get started by going to the download page, which is on GitHub. I also have a link in the description below. So when you get here, if you're not used to GitHub, there's like a lot of stuff to click on. You only need one thing. You just scroll down right here to how to install, and there's a download link right here, so you can just click that. And so once it downloads, you just want to go back into Blender over here, edit, preferences, make sure you're on the add-ons tab right here, and then go to install, and then find the file that you just downloaded. You don't have to unzip anything. Once you find it, just click on it and just click install add-on. Once you do that, it should appear right here. You just have to activate it like that, and you should be good to go. And also a little tab pops up over here on your end side panel. So now that it's installed, I'm just going to make a really quick scene to preview all the features. So I'm just going to start by adding a plane right here, tab into edit mode, and subdivide this 19 times. So we just have 20 squares by 20 squares right here. Press 2 to go into edge select, then right click and edge split. Press period and make sure you're in individual origins, and if you scale, you can see they're all separate now. I'm just going to scale it down a little, and also E to extrude, and then just extrude a little, just to add some thickness to our planes. And then I'm going to select everything and hit P to separate them by loose parts. And this will actually separate each object right here into separate parts. And right now they all have the same origin point, so we just have to right click with all of them selected, set origin to center of mass, and that'll separate the origin points for everything. And right now these are not organized into any collection, so I'm just going to hit M to move them to a new collection, and now they're all in their own collection, and we can collapse it right here, and it's just a little more organized. So I'm just going to give all of these a quick animation. So I'm just going to hit I, location keyframe, go over to 30, I again, and then on 15 I'm just going to bring it up on the Z slightly and set another location keyframe. So this is what it looks like. All of them are moving. All right, so let's dive into Commotion. Just hit N to go into the side panel over here. And this is what we see. You can use this to offset all kinds of animation data, including shape keys and material, and we'll get into that. First, let's just hit offset animation with all of these selected and just see what happens. So right now, these are all offset by 1 frame. So if we look at that, it's starting in the center and going outward. And it's starting in the center because we have this set to cursor for the way it's sorted. And this is moving pretty slow also. So if you want to speed it up, just select everything again, and you can change this offset value to something smaller. So they're all separated by 1 frame, but you can actually separate them by smaller amounts. So like 0.1 right there, and hit offset animation again. And now all of these are moving much closer together. Also, one thing to note is when you hit offset, it will move all of the frames to start where your 2D cursor is. So right now, if I hit it right here with everything selected, you can see they all start on frame 21 because that's where this 2D cursor is. So if you want to start at the beginning, you have to make sure to move your cursor there first, like that. Threshold. So if you have threshold set to 1, it will offset the keyframes of every object individually. None of them will be timed the same. If you set it to 10, then it will offset the keyframes by 10 objects at a time, and those objects will all start and end at the same time. So right now you can see we have 400 objects right here, and I'm just going to change the values here. I'll make the offset something like 10 and threshold something really high just so we can see it, like 50, and then offset it. You can see they're moving in chunks now, and they're not moving individually. So that's what threshold does. And as I said, this is using the 3D cursor. So if you want, you can move the 3D cursor to somewhere else with shift and right click. So we'll select this corner right here, and then we'll select all of our objects and hit offset animation again. And now we can see it's coming from the corner because that's where our 3D cursor is. And we can just reset that with shift S and then cursor to world origin right there. We can also sort these by name. And basically what that is doing, if we look over here in our side panel, it's basically just going down the line alphabetically and numerically. So we can select our first one right here, and if we are over the outliner and just press down, it'll show you the order it's going to go in. So it's going to choose the corners, and then it's going to start just going down the line like this. Select everything, offset animation with name selected. And that's how everything is organized by name. We're going to skip multi-offset for now, and I'll come back to it. The next one is random. Select everything, offset animation, and they just go randomly right here. And you can also change the seed. So if you have, you know, multiple plain collections right here, you could make them be different if you want to by changing the seed right here. So now we'll get into multi-offset right here. So you can see there are some fields for collections right here. It's the same icon as our collection right there. For animated, we just want to choose this collection right here, collection 1, and then we're going to hover over here, hit C to add another collection, double click on that, and I'm going to rename it to Effectors, and we're just going to select that one over here. So basically what this is doing is very similar to cursor right here. So when you choose this, it starts at the cursor. With multi-offset, you can make it start from 2 or more different locations. So just in our Effectors collection, I'm going to add an empty, and I'm just going to add a sphere empty right here and scale it down a little. So this is where it should start now because this is in our Effectors collection. We'll just select everything here and offset animation. You can see it starts right there. Now we can duplicate this, and I'm just going to move it to this corner right here. And you can see that one is also in that collection. That's important that it is in this collection right here. Select everything, offset animation. And now it starts from 2 different areas right there. One other thing is proximity right here. And we'll just see what that does just by switching to that. Make sure you select everything, offset animation. So as you can see, the only ones that move are the ones that are close to these empties right here. And as far as I know, this is based on the origin point, the scale, and the bounding box. So if I scale this up right here, offset again, you can see it's bigger and it's spherical in shape right here still. If I delete this and instead add a cube right here and also scale that down slightly, and you'll see that it's still spherical. So I think it's just checking like a radius. It's always going to be kind of circular as far as I know, even though the bounding box is a box. So I'm just going to delete this one for now, and we're just going to focus on this box-shaped one right here. And with proximity checked, it will pay attention to animation too. So I'm just going to move this off to the side, set a keyframe for animation, go to frame 100 and just move it across like that, and set another keyframe for location. So this is our animation right here. It just moves across the plane slowly. So if we select everything again and hit offset animation, we can see that the only objects that animate are the ones that are in the path of this object right there. Okay, so for this next part, we're going to check out the proximity effector down at the bottom right here. And first thing we're going to do is select everything except for this empty right here. And we're just going to delete all of these keyframes. So now there's no animation. We're going to check proximity effector and choose the same collections that we did before. So for animated collection 1, effectors, the Effectors collection right here. And basically what this does, it allows you to animate these without actually setting keyframes. So if you check location right here and drop it down, you can see we have X, Y, and Z, but there are 2 different fields. And the reason for that is this is the starting position, and this is the position that it's moving to. For instance, we can just make this go down. I'll just say -1 right there. And you can see none of these have keyframes, so this is just affecting it based on this right here, you know. And if we wanted, we could, you know, make it go on the Y instead right there. So now they're all moving in the Y direction. And this works for, you know, location, rotation, scale. You can use shape keys also, and you can also bake them. So if you like what you have here, you can bake it and it'll stay that. It'll actually turn them all into keyframes, basically. I'll just go through and set these up, each one of these up slightly, except for shape keys. I'll come back to that. So that's what it looks like right now. Let's look at Falloff. So Falloff is basically looking at the origin of the effector right here and saying be strongest in the middle and get softer as it goes to the edge right here. So you can see, if we look at this from the side, it's tall in the middle and low on the sides. And so if we turn this all the way up, it'll just be a solid circle right there. And all of them will be the same intensity, like that. And if we put this at 0.5, you can see the middle will be hard, and there is some slight weakening towards the edge right there. So I like to just leave this at 0. And so what trail does is, if you check that, this will make it stay up or fade over time. So if we have it set to 0, it'll just stay up forever like that. And if we set it to 1, it'll basically act as if it's not checked. So if we set it just a small value, you'll see that they stay up for a little while and then just take a little longer to go down. So this is with trail on like that, and this is with trail off. And like I said, if you like this, you can go down to bake and hit bake, and it'll just take some time to record it right here. It'll just run through. And then when we select these, you can see they have keyframes now. So you could delete this, shut this off, and all of these will still retain the same animation right here. You can also free bake to get rid of all of those keyframes right there. Okay, let's move on to shape keys. So I'm just going to delete everything over here. I'm going to add a cube right here. Tab into edit mode. I'm just going to subdivide this a few times. Okay, and then we just need to go over here to the object data properties to set up some shape keys. So this one's going to be simple. You click this for the basis. This is our resting original state, and we just want to add a second one. This will say key 1, and this is what we want it to change to. With that selected, come over here back into edit mode, and I'm just going to hit F3 and search to sphere, and we're just going to turn that into a sphere. So when we come back into object mode, you can see you can control this over here, and it'll turn into a sphere. And also you can see there's like a shape keys drop down over here. And if you have your object selected with the shape keys, you can hit refresh and you can control it from here also. So I'm just going to duplicate this with Shift D and drag it on the X axis a little bit, and then Shift R a few times. So these are all the same. They're separate objects, but they all have the same shape keys, and they can be changed individually right there. So we still need to animate this because we have no keyframes set. So I'm just going to select our first object right here and insert a keyframe on frame 1 for key 1 right here. And then go to frame 30 and put that all the way to 1 and add another keyframe with I. And so we can see that's what it looks like right now. And we can actually copy this to our other objects by selecting all of our other objects and making sure that this one is active. You can see this one's yellow and the other ones are orange. You can come down to animation utilities right here and just hit copy. So now all of these have the same animation. Come over here and just make sure that shape keys is checked. It should be checked by default, but if you're messing with settings, make sure that this is checked. I'm just going to change this to something bigger like 5 and hit offset again. And you can see these are offset. So that's how it works with shape keys. Next, I'll show you materials. So I'm going to hit Shift A, and I'm just going to add Suzanne the monkey in here. And I'm going to Shift D to duplicate on the X right there, and Shift R a few times. Click on the first one right here, and I hit period on the numpad just to zoom in on it right there. And I'm going to go over to shading and add a new material on the side. And for this one, it's going to be pretty simple. We're just going to change the base color. Make sure you can see your timeline over here. Go back to frame 1 and hit I over the color, and then go over to frame 30. And we're just going to change this to black right there and hit I again. So now this is our animation right here. Next, we need to link all of the materials. So I'm just going to hit A and make sure that this one over here is active. And we can just hit Control L and then materials, and you can see all of those have the same animation now, and they all have the same material. So this is actually a problem. We don't want them to all have the same material because they won't be able to be offset if they're sharing the same data. And you can tell that they all share the same material because we have 10 monkeys right here, and we have 10 users right here. So if you want all of these to have single user, a quick way to do that is just hit F3 and type in single user and make single user materials like that. So now you can see that this says material 001, material 002. So they all have different materials, but they're all being animated the same exact way. Basically just duplicates. So then we're going to come back over here to layout, select all of them, go back to frame 1, and hit offset animation. We just have to go into look dev to see this happening in action. And we can see starting from the cursor, they're all offset. And once again, you have to make sure that each material has a separate user or else this won't work. Oh yeah, one thing that I didn't talk about is that you can also reverse. Amazing. If you'd like to see how to make looping animations with Commotion, I covered that in a previous video, and you can check that out in the pop-up here or by clicking the link in the description. So yeah, that's how you use the Commotion add-on. Once again, the link for this is in the description, and the add-on is free to download. This is a really powerful tool with quite a few options for offsetting keyframes. You can achieve some cool results, so make sure to experiment. Like and subscribe if you liked the video, and if you have a recommendation for a future video, leave a comment below. Thanks for watching, and have a good one.